Being able to wish for anything you want has got to be amazing. But what if you had 100 different things that you could potentially choose from? Then it becomes a nightmare. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the final episode of Juni Taisen. An episode which I believe goes out on a bit of a whimper, when it should go out like a frickin' lion climbing up Pride Rock and roaring into the rain. This was a really great conclusion to the story of Rat. I honestly thought that it was really satisfying. As a conclusion to the overall story of Juni Taisen, well, I have to admit that I am slightly disappointed. The final episode of the series is basically all about Rat, who is struggling with trying to figure out what it is that he is going to wish for. He won the Juni Taisen, so he's going to be able to wish for absolutely anything. No restrictions. He could become the god of the universe if he wanted to. At least that's what I've been led to believe. But here he struggles due to his special ability to have 100 different outcomes. He doesn't really know what he wants. He could become a superstar, a celebrity, rich, have an amazing girlfriend, even resurrect those who were killed in the Juni Taisen. And yet, he struggles with all of it. And it's his actual journey throughout this episode in discovering what it is that he wants, which actually adds a lot of really great drama to the final episode of the series. But it really doesn't tie a really nice bow on the Juni Taisen story overall. What I will say is, I was a little disappointed by the fact that half of this episode went to one of the most stereotypical of anime settings, which is the school classroom. The minute I learned that the Rat was just a normal Japanese high school student, I was immediately bored by the prospect, as I knew the visuals really weren't going to be all that great. It's not like I was expecting like a lot of crazy action or anything in this episode. The Juni Taisen is over. The overall setting here, though, is kind of boring. What I will say is, learning that the Rat is actually a student completely changes how I actually think about his character, and when you compare him to a lot of the other warriors of the Juni Taisen, who are clearly more experienced, have seen a lot of crazy shit in their lifetimes, and you really get to see why their wishes are so drastically different from Rat's at the very end of the story. And ultimately, what is it that Rat ends up wishing for? Well, here's the spoiler right here. He wishes to forget everything. Everything that happened in the Juni Taisen, all of the people that he met, all of the experiences that he had, the good and the bad, including getting to know all of these individual fighters, their aspirations and their dreams, and ultimately being remembered by being murdered by all of them, something that he can actually physically remember and feel. And that basically just sort of broke him down. It was a really disturbing thing to actually think about. But that's the conclusion of the series. All the other characters who are dead are gone. He decides to erase everything that happened, and we're back all the way to the beginning of the series, where we still don't really know what's going on. The Juni Taisen is going to continue to commence, and we should care because I'm not really sure. This seems like the type of series that could really be built upon with more material, a sequel, a movie, something. I feel like they could build upon this universe in an interesting way, and we didn't get to learn too much about it. Really, this entire series was simply about how people view war, how they get dragged into it, the reasoning behind it, and how it all types into their eventual hopes and dreams of what they want to be as a successful human being, someone who's happy, someone who needs companionship. It's just all dressed up in super ridiculous, over-the-top, explodey anime violence. And in some ways it works, and in some other ways it actually doesn't. So, what's the rundown on this episode of Juni Taisen? Well, the series is over. It's not quite what I was wanting, but overall I still have to say that Juni Taisen was at least fairly entertaining to watch. I think the series peaked way too early. The first episode looks way too good, and there was never another action scene that truly came close to the things they did in that first episode in terms of style. There were a few moments, a few sparks which were lit, of course, but nothing really led up to that, and that was really disappointing to say the least. That and there was just a disproportionate amount of characterization for some of the characters. Not everybody got equal screen time. Why did Dragon and Snake have 2 episodes devoted to these guys when the only thing that ends up happening to them is that they just get cut up and turned into walking reanimated corpses? The only thing, like, genuine about their characters that they displayed for us was that they just want money. That's it. That's all. If anything, it was interesting in this final episode to get to learn what everybody was going to wish for, in a sense. I think the ones I thought was the funniest was Boar, who simply just wants a harem of handsome men. But there's a lot of interesting things they do with the characters in this episode, things that make me rethink about who they are and really what they're really like the dog. I thought that he was just this cruel, unforgiving warrior, but apparently that one scene that we saw during his episode where he was taking out those goons and that mob boss, he actually saved this little girl and basically became her stepfather, and you get to see a nicer side of him as he's basically playing the dad and the dog. It's a really strange scene, and it's little moments like that that I think are more effective than the big, long-winded episodes where they detail their entire backstories. Show, don't tell. This is anime. You can do a lot with your visuals, and really the entire episode, or really the entire season, can be boiled down to the message of war's bad. Okay? That's basically it. And that's a message that is done in so many other anime series, and a lot of the times better. I will say, it is a series that might beg rewatching. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. Maybe there is something a little deeper to these characters and their actual motivations. As it stands, I don't think Juni Taisen knows what type of series that it wants to be. I don't know if it wants to be this hardcore, over-the-top, super slick action series, because there really is not that much action in the entire series. I don't know if it's got a really important story to tell with its messages and its allegories and the things which are relevant in today's world. I'm not really sure. You can sort of pick and choose what Juni Taisen is, but ultimately, I think that makes it kind of a mixed bag of an anime series. Really, at the end of the day, I think it's going to become like a cult classic for people, but for me personally, it's kind of a middle-of-the-road anime. It's just a 3 out of 5, just your average run-of-the-mill series that occasionally has these little moments of brilliance. But still, it is worth to at least see those moments, and if anything, I will say, it's an anime series that if you watch through at least once, I don't regret watching it. It's not like it's Black Clover or anything. Fuck Black Clover. Juni Taisen, on the other hand, has still got enough interesting things going for it, the concept of the characters, that it still manages to be somewhat entertaining. Just the execution was not as sharp as the blades which were used in this show. So, 3 out of 5 for the final episode, 3 out of 5 for the entire series. It's Juni Taisen, the Zodiac War, and it's just okay. But maybe your thoughts differ. Maybe you liked this series a lot more than me. Maybe you hated it a lot more than me. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can tell me in the comments section below. And, of course, if you'd like to see the return of more Juni Taisen material in the future, or if you're simply just done with the series. What did you think of the final story with Rat? Were you shocked by the ending? How would you change things? Basically, tell me all your thoughts about the Juni Taisen anime series in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this series. If you want to see any of my previous reviews on Juni Taisen, there will be a playlist on the channel, so make sure to check that out. I've reviewed every episode of the series, and if you want to see more anime reviews, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with your friends. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn down, baby.